Hello, everyone. It's the Riot Podcast.
Well, hi, Hudson.
Hey.
How are you?
Oh, good. I'm doing great.
Good. Isaiah doing well?
Oh, I'm doing incredible this morning.
Yeah.
Just fantastic.
Isaiah's been like just floating through the building because all of his football teams won yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
So like he's happy.
I don't know if he's happy because because of the Browns winning and stuff, or if he's just happy whenever he's at work because he gets to get away from Jim the dog.
Yeah.
A healthy combination of both of them.
Yeah, we talked about both those things today on the show. So you will also hear us talk about some football stuff and how it was just an incredible weekend. It was just so
The
soothing
glow
and nice.
that you two have.
And then we also touched on my dog Jim, who got fixed late last week, and just feels like there's no hope.
When we say fixed, we're
wait.
talking about the procedure, but it didn't really fix everything.
His problem.
Yeah.
But you have to remember, like sometimes when times are darkest, then the light appears and you come out
wait.
on the other side and you're like, well, that wasn't a long 9 or 10 months of pure pain with my dog.
I just can't wait because I know like that his birthday is going to come quickly. Like it's going to come up on me. And by the time he's 1 year old, I swear, if this dog is not better, I don't know what I'm going to do.
He should, technically by his age, like he should not be doing this anymore. But all dogs grow at different times and different, strengths and weaknesses. And we all have, everybody's dog has a problem. So it's just whatever it is.
He's a unique little guy.
There it is.
Jim is.
Aww.
Yeah. And like the best part right now is like, cause he is like a basset hound. So he's like super like wrinkly as is. But now, because he's like on all these medications and stuff, his face is so droopy. Like it's like because bass hounds already have like the red under the eyes, like they like kind of like sit low. But right now, I mean, it looks like his face is just dragging the floor. Like it looks hilarious. He always looks sad, but right now he looks so sad.
Oh man, poor Jim.
Yeah,
and poor Isaiah.
Oh, of course. We talked about that. And then we also talked about another story of just a group of people that felt like they were done so dirty. And this got me thinking, like, you know when people say, like, you're not supposed to, like, break up with, like, a significant other, like, over text if it's, like, been, like, a long relationship? Well, I feel like this is almost worse, like, getting laid off over Zoom. Like 900 other people. I guess if you're there with a lot of people, it doesn't feel so bad, maybe.
Well, you're not all looking at each other, though, on the call, though.
But,
so there's been an update on the Better.com guy.
I never thought about this, but the way you just phrased it opened my eyes. Can you imagine if this was not done over Zoom? Or in other words, they gathered 900 employees into a conference room or, whatever, like a room big enough to hold them.
Yeah.
And the CEO stood up on the stage and said, if you're in this meeting, you're laid off. You think those 900 employees would have let that guy leave the room alive?
No
Which
chance.
that is why, that's what makes it really egregious what he did. Plus, he did it over Zoom. It might as well have been a video recording. He didn't even have to do it live.
Sure.
So, I don't know. It doesn't... the more you think about it, never makes it better with this CEO from
being
last
laid
week.
off. But there's an update, and no, it's not. They got their jobs back.
No,
so you'll just
it's not
hear
exactly
what
great
happened.
news.
But it's an update.
Yeah, we talked about that. We also touched on some Christmas lights. So if you put your Christmas lights up, and if you put up a lot, you need to hear this segment because we talked about people who did a lot and people who did a little.
Yes. And it was a big weekend for Christmas lights.
And we get to say the word Poughkeepsie.
Oh, yeah.
Poughkeepsie.
I don't know why, but that word
Poughkeepsie,
fascinates
that's
me.
fun to say.
It is. It's just fascinating.
Like Francisco. I watched Elf over the weekend.
No, did it?
Yeah.
But yeah, it makes me, like, was not planning on putting up Christmas lights, but I kind of want to put up, like, something.
Yeah.
It's just, like,
You
one
inspired?
thing. Like, just, like, a little bit.
But, like,
Well,
a
if you ever go
passive-aggressive
past
thing?
a house or like
No,
an
no.
apartment that has nothing up, I always think, like, what's wrong with them?
Yeah.
You could have just put a light on or
They
just
must
something.
be from another country or
Just,
something.
they're not
Yeah.
celebrating
Yeah.
Christmas. So.
Yeah, so I want to put up, like, something, but something very small. Some people walk out there like, oh, cute. And I'm like, yep, that
There it
one,
is.
yeah.
That's
At
all we
least
got.
it's something.
I put that up and everything.
Yeah.
It was me.
We don't need to be record holders, but you just need to at least be participating.
Yeah.
So maybe like a solo light, maybe like a little strand of like 6 or so lights, like
you
over
put,
my door.
Just
Perfect.
a candle in the window.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe, and because we don't even have the house is not decorated. Obviously, there's nothing inside. Christmas Eve. I'm thinking maybe just one mistletoe, just in the middle of the living room.
That's potential for awkwardness, right?
Yeah,
there.
just a mistletoe, just for me and my roommate. Just toss that up in the middle of the house.
Well, thank you guys for listening to the podcast today. Hopefully, you did have a wonderful weekend, and we're off to a great week. Make sure you text and say hi at 877-2-RADIO-U. And we did announce, so you'll hear some of that. We are doing our Riot Christmas party this Thursday. So if you want to, as a podcast listener, watch a special show from us, that'll be our Christmas party at Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on our Facebook pages and our YouTube channel.
We'll check you then, and we'll check you next time.
Bye.
If you missed out on the next Riot moment when it originally aired, you don't know how lucky you are. You're listening to the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Happy Monday to ya.
Hi, everybody.
Nikki, how was your weekend?
It was good. You know, I made a effort to go to bed earlier each night.
Did you really?
I did. And I think the latest I went to bed was 11 one night.
Wow.
Which is way earlier than even what I do during the weekdays.
You must have had a fun weekend.
I know. I really went all out, right?
Yeah. Well, was it one of those weekends where you just had the kind of stuff going on where it wears you out? So, during the day,
I
the gay happy meetings.
I think last week wore me out so much that this weekend I had to just sleep.
Yeah, you had to recover.
Yeah, but it was good. Did you have a good weekend?
I did. I watched a lot of movies.
Good.
I'm catching up on Christmas movies, and I wanted to recommend to you, because I think you will like it. Have you seen Nobody?
Nobody. I don't think so.
That's the one with Bob Odenkirk, Saul.
Oh, the one guy.
Yeah.
It was the John Wick, but it's not.
It's very John Wick, which is why if you just want a very similar bunch of violence, people getting murdered and stuff.
Let's think of it as a really good revenge.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it has, just like John Wick, a very, the jumping off point that sets the whole thing off. Maybe not the most realistic, maybe a little thin.
That's all right.
But hey, if you just want to see people getting punched in the throat, that's the movie for you.
I like when I Google searched it. It says, "Is Nobody in John Wick universe?" Meaning, like, is it the same?
Yeah, are they connected?
Are they connected somehow? They're not. But
No,
yeah, that's cool.
not
I've been
yet.
wanting to see that.
Yeah, that is, if you can Redbox it. Which I also saw at Redbox, they have a new subscription service at Redbox.
Oh,
see, I got it on Redbox
because
it wasn't on any streaming services, and it's way more expensive to rent it on a streaming service than to go to Redbox. And so I was like, fine, I'll go to Redbox. I'm not save $4, sign me up.
Not ashamed to do that.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I did. And the
Cool.
Redbox subscription service, if you want, you can pay like $10 a year, and you get like 12 movies a year. One a month.
Yeah, I just don't know if I could find 12 movies.
You don't?
At this point.
But for $10 a year, that's like 1 month of a streaming service that you find 12 movies on there.
I've been doing streaming for so long, I don't even remember if I have a Blu-ray. I don't even have a Blu-ray player hooked up to the TV.
Eric has one.
To watch it.
Eric's got us something.
You were one of the lucky few who missed the riot when they were live. Yet here you are.
I also like to live dangerously.
This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Good morning, Isaiah.
Good morning, everybody.
There you are. Isaiah, it was a wild weekend in football, wasn't it?
Oh, it was wonderful. I'm coming in today with a big old smile on my face. The Browns are back, baby. We're back.
Every time on like Monday, you just try to feel people's body language. Like, was it a good weekend for football?
Oh, yeah.
Did all your
You can
teams
tell.
work out? And you can tell he's happy.
You can tell Isaiah's in a good mood. I watched a lot of the game, Isaiah, but tell Nikki and everyone else that might have missed out how the Browns, just tell them all about what down yesterday.
Oh, essentially, the first half, we were just crushing them. It was incredible. We were up like...
Who's them?
The Baltimore Ravens.
Thank you.
The
Thank
Cleveland
you.
Browns are
Pronouns,
winning. And
pal.
like 24-6 at halftime. And then second half was a bit more stressful, as we usually do. We can never win just in normal fashion. We had to
Sure.
make Malik Hart beat a little faster. So then they came all the way back and actually recovered an onside kick at the end to almost beat us, and we ended up winning 24-22.
Ooh,
But
close.
we won, and that's the important part. And everyone that I needed to lose, like on Friday, when we were like, who are we cheering for this weekend? Everyone that I needed to lose lost. So it was just
the
perfect.
chips.
It was incredible. It was
The
incredible.
chips
He's
fell into
celebrating the
place.
failure of so many teams.
Literally.
And you don't want to celebrate an injury, but a big thing in the Browns game was they knocked out the Ravens quarterback, Lamar Jackson, which, again, ironically enough, that happened towards the tail end of the first half, and that was when the Ravens were down a bunch, and then they put in their backup, Tyler Huntley, and he starts, he was the one leading the charge in the comeback, even though, what, did he fumble it twice, right?
He fumbled twice, yeah.
So
Yes, he
just
scored on
a
him.
topsy-turvy game.
Well, when you're not prepared to go in and
Yeah.
you get called in a dramatic fashion like that, then it's going to be a little hard.
Yeah, of course. It's understandable you would fumble.
That's good. And did all your teams win, Hudson?
The Packers won,
Yeah.
yes.
You're
so
wearing
I
the
was,
hat today for the
yeah,
Packers?
Yes.
Where's your Browns hat? Come on.
I know. I didn't even think about it this morning. I was typical morning. I was tired.
Yeah, the Packers had a beautiful night last night. They actually, I think they were losing at halftime.
They were. I was nervous.
You were?
I was just nervous
never
because I was like, if Hudson comes in tomorrow after they lose to the Bears, because last week he was like, we're playing the Bears, like it shouldn't even be a Sunday night game because we're gonna win, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're losing. I was like, what is happening right now?
No, I was never nervous. I did have to watch the game. I was hoping I could just flip it off at like halftime because they'd be up so big, but I did have to stay up and watch the whole thing. But I was never nervous because some of the
it's the Bears.
Yeah, it's the Bears.
Exactly.
Some of the touchdowns they got it was the same guy. His name is Jakeem Grant.
Oh,
Sr.
he was like a bullet.
Yeah.
He was unreal.
But he got a punt return for a touchdown, the first punt return of the season for a touchdown. And you just see that, and you're like, you know what? That's just a fluke. Things like that.
He looked like a flash.
That doesn't mean it's
It
a
was
good
insane.
team. It just means they got lucky on one play.
Aww.
They don't have the ability to drive the field and get points, and they sure don't have the ability to stop the Packers from getting points, which they didn't. The Packers won 45-30. So all in all, a good night.
So Packers won over the weekend. The Browns won over the weekend.
Yep.
Was there anyone else that we were supposed to have been rooting for that also won? Or was that the two main ones?
That was the main. The big game was the Buccaneers against the Bills.
Yeah.
Isaiah was. I'm not going to speak for you, Isaiah, but
Cheer
I know-
for the Buccaneers.
I know he was happy that the Bills lost just because it helps out the Browns a little bit.
Well, you're right. You had a good weekend.
Yeah,
guys.
And the
Great
Bengals,
weekend.
I was cheering against the Bengals,
Yeah.
even though I don't hate the Bengals, but I needed them to lose, so they lost to the 49ers in overtime. There was actually a lot of good games. The Bills-Buccaneers game went to overtime. They ended up losing, perfect for me. And then the 49ers-Bengals game went to overtime. Bengals ended up losing, perfect for me.
And did you notice what was really
I like how that's the most important part about
Yes.
sports.
They lost, perfect.
I really loved how the Buccaneers game went to overtime and the Bengals game went to overtime. They both started in the late window. So because of the overtime, usually there's like an hour-ish lull between the late games and then the Sunday night game.
Yeah.
But because of the overtime, there's like 10 minutes between
I know,
games.
it was great.
You didn't even have to hardly stop watching football all day long. It was beautiful.
Now, David said the Cowboys, LOL.
Oh, yeah.
But they did win.
They did get a
Okay.
dub. They did get a dub. Yep.
They
Yeah.
did. They got
did.
that. Well,
But
thanks, David, for texting.
We're not especially. I mean, they're like a step above the Bears.
The Cowboys?
in our eyes, yeah, slightly.
I
The
know a lot
Cowboys
of-
are a good team.
I know a lot of fans of the Cowboys, and they don't care. So.
Yeah.
They
They're
won,
still going to stay a
so.
fan.
Well, that's what you have to do, right? You just after all those years of pain and suffering, you're gonna quit now.
No,
is that what you're gonna do?
You stay a fan.
Yeah, that's right. Even if it's the Cowboys.
Well, what a weekend.
Yeah, what a weekend.
Playoffs, baby. Playoffs, baby. We're back. We're back.
The Riot promise is that they'll always have an opinion on everything they talk about. But that doesn't mean any of their opinions will make sense. This is The Riot on Radio U.
There's a liner. The liners are the things that play between songs.
Yeah.
And it says something like instant coffee, instant potatoes, instant something else. How about an instant request? And I guess it says something about how that like none of those things are good. And I think about that often. Anytime I see instant potatoes, I'm like, oh yeah, they aren't good.
They're not, but they'll do.
Yeah, but you know what's a lot better? Like, there's a lot of truth to that liner, because you know what's a lot better than instant potatoes?
Real ones.
Not instant potatoes.
Yeah.
It's true. So many things. We have so many options for us that are instant, and most of them aren't very good because sometimes what makes something good is just that it takes time. When you put care and love into it, it winds up turning out a lot better than if you just pop it into the microwave with some water.
We don't always have to settle for the instant part.
No, I mean, sometimes that gets the job done. But in life, sometimes we just want that instant solution to all of our issues. It's just like, well, I just want it to change right now. But the instant solution oftentimes is not the best one, where it might work in the moment, but over time, that same problem probably just comes back to bite you. But what God wants to do for you is, some of it is instant. Jesus can make a difference for you right in the moment. But the truth is, like with anything, God's not going to just give you an instant solution and it's just going to, you come back a few days later and the instant solution is worn off. God wants to do something for you where you go through it every single day, where all the issues in your life cannot be solved instantly. It's a process. It takes time. And that's not easy to hear. It's not what we want to hear, but it is helpful to know that God is going to be there for you every single day, knowing that when things don't all of a sudden change instantly for you, you don't have to get hopeless. You don't have to get upset because God is going to be there for you for the long drawn out stuff that needs to be fixed and for the instant stuff. Jesus has a way to get you out of the issues you're dealing with. He has a way to help you out with them. And whether it takes time or whether it's something that can be fixed instantly, he's going to do it for you. So if you're ready for that, a solution to your problems that's not just going to come and go, but it's going to stick with you. That's what God wants for you. That is what God is going to do for you. And all you need to do is ask, say, hey, God, I've got a lot of stuff going on in my life. Some of it I want to just snap my fingers and get it to go away right now. I know maybe that's not the case. I want you to help me with it and walk me through it, and he will. Jesus really cares about you. He loves you, and he's got a way to solve those problems for you. If you're ready for that, check out RadioU.com/free gift.
Welcome to The Riot, where you listen to us and that's it. It's pretty much a one-way street. The Riot. Radio U.
Okay, so let's...
An RSVP. No. We need to know how many people are coming for, like snacks and stuff.
Oh, yeah. For how many snacks we should eat.
You're right. Yeah, we want it to be in proportion how many people are watching.
Yep. Let's take a trip to South Florida, shall we? Fort Lauderdale, where we have an HOA, Homeowners Association. They were getting annoyed with a gaggle of geese that was hanging out around there. They had 25 geese.
It's a lot of geese.
Yeah.
That's a gaggle.
Is that how much a gaggle is?
How many?
25?
Is a term. It's a group of geese.
Yeah.
And 25
so does
sounds
that mean,
like a group.
Could you have a gaggle of just 3 geese?
I'd say so.
You think that's enough?
No, that's a family.
That's just...
Oh, that's a family?
Yeah.
That's a family or friends. That's not a gaggle.
How many? What's the lowest amount for a gaggle?
It's got to be, 5? 7?
I was going to say maybe 8 to 10.
8 to 10, yeah. Okay. All right. So, it was several gaggles then. It was several gaggles of geese, 25 to be exact. And if you've never had geese stuck around an area, they are very annoying because they're loud. They poop everywhere.
They're scary.
And if they get into the road, you can't just run them over. You got to just let them do what they do. And they will attack you.
Yeah,
have you ever been
scary
attacked by
animal.
a goose?
I've never been attacked by one, but I don't want to get close to them either.
Yeah, they'll chase you around. So this neighborhood wanted to get rid of them. They hired a company, Pest Wildlife Pro, that was going to get rid of the geese. Now, they were going to capture the geese, drug them, and then, unfortunately, euthanize them. Ooh. That was the plan.
Why can't you just move them? I'm sure some other neighborhood would love to have them.
No, it doesn't work. Ask Chris. Ask Chris about moving geese.
No, Chris is too mean about it. He's like, bye-bye.
He was pretty mean.
He's mean about it.
He threw the egg. I don't even know. I don't want to give away all the secrets.
Egg.
It might not be past the statute of limitations.
I think you should not tell on him. But
we're not gonna get him in trouble.
Jack,
Jack, the other employee here.
Oh yeah.
If you've never had geese in your area, then you're like, oh no, how could you? But I do understand if you have geese, they can be quite bad, but not enough to drug them, sedate them and euthanize them.
Well, they were gonna humanely drug them and kill them, but it all went horribly awry. It went even worse than how it was supposed to go.
Well, they do.
So they managed to capture some of the geese and drug them.
Oh my gosh.
However, they did not keep the geese captured.
Oh
so
my
these
gosh.
geese are drugged in the early stages of being drugged.
They say a loud car spooked them.
Yes. And so they started to fly away. And since they were drugged, they started to fly away. But they dropped out of the sky.
You gotta stop laughing. You gotta stop laughing.
They dropped out of the sky.
10 fell into the lake and drowned.
Yes.
And then they finally found the other 15, and then they euthanized them off site. That's awful. They said a lot of them were yelling and screaming, and people just said it was out of control.
Yeah.
People were yelling and screaming, or the geese were yelling and screaming?
They were honking.
Oh my gosh.
They fed the geese bread that was laced with sedatives.
Right.
Imagine just seeing the scene of them just starting to drop,
Fall
and everyone's
from
like,
the sky.
no, and then just into the water.
And then drowning.
Oh my gosh.
That would be traumatic for everybody involved to watch the geese fall to their death. And then it's like, would you jump into the lake to save the geese?
Well, they would they would die anyways.
What? I guess so, yeah. Would you jump in to save the geese that are destined to be euthanized?
So let's see. The government officials are not putting the blame yet on the homeowners association. They say that they could face a fine because the city is a bird sanctuary and it's illegal to hunt, wound, injure, or whatever any birds within its limits.
Oh, so it wasn't all above board in the first place.
It wasn't.
So I guess so the homeowners association and obviously the wildlife company.
They're
probably should go out
bad.
of business.
Gosh, how could you feed anything drugged bread? Bread's the best thing in the world.
Yes.
And to put drugs in it is the worst.
Oh my gosh.
And that says too, it says someone told the newspaper, everyone hates the dog catcher in the neighborhood. It was just a bad situation. If you're a dog catcher in a neighborhood, how can you even get a bad rep? Like, how is that even possible? I couldn't even tell you who the dog catcher around here is, or like wherever I live. But at the same time, like, how does he have a bad rep already? It's just like a normal thing that's happening constantly in the little neighborhood.
I don't know. I don't
think we live in enough neighborhoods like this.
No, we don't have we have a lot of geese here, so.
But not like that.
No. Well, we're just letting them roam free. However, we don't have them now because they're flying south, but they're just roaming free when they're around here.
They flew for about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They came down because
they didn't make it very far.
They drowned in a lake one town south of here.
They did. That's what happened.
Oh my gosh.
The Riot Podcast. RadioU.
Now, I didn't realize this, but Nikki, that when you go to the edge of space, like Jeffrey Bezos did, like Richard Branson did, William Shatner, did you know that you could get a pair of astronaut wings from the FAA, the Federal Aviation something? Because
you get something when you go to space or like... It's been a controversy. Yeah. Because for these missions where you could pay or be sent up to the edge of space, if you are not far enough into actual space, like you're not supposed to get these wings. Yeah. But people want them. But technically, they're not supposed to be giving them out unless you really are truly, like an astronaut.
Yeah. And the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, they have been giving out these astronaut wings because I guess in their eyes, technically, all these people that have been flying up in the SpaceX and Blue Origin flights and Virgin Galactic have been going just far enough. That's probably why they pick how far they go up, because they can get the astronaut wings, right? Well, no longer.
No, they're taking them away.
The FAA has announced that as of January 1st, they will no longer be handing out astronaut wings for any of these commercial space flights. So that means Michael Strahan, he gets his astronaut wings for over the weekend. But if you wind up getting a ticket to space in 2022, no astronaut wings for you.
So if you are a part of the real astronaut stuff, like from NASA, you never have anything to worry about. If you're
still
going
get
up
your
from
wings.
NASA, you're still getting
As
your
if
wings.
that's what you're worried about.
Because those are official.
Well, I'm going to go live on the
else,
space station and use a suction cup toilet for 6 months.
I'm getting these wings.
But do I get my wings? You still will get them.
So basically, if you're going on like a private flight to the edge of space, that's it. So that's according to the FAA.
Do you think this lowers the price of a Blue Origin flight by like $5?
It is funny because I don't think, like space organizations, so like NASA, I don't think they saw that coming. Yeah. Because this is private, almost space flight. Yeah. And they seem to be acting like it's cheapening.
Yeah.
If you're an astronaut and you're really going into space, this award that would always be given to only them.
Right.
So it's very few that would get these wings. And I think it was maybe William Shatner that broke it. Like, William Shatner is getting these wings.
Once they're doing like a launch a month and it's just all these randos.
They say there's too many private space travel organizations that are now just sending anyone up and they don't get wings.
Which almost makes it sound like maybe there's just a supply shortage of astronaut wings.
Could be.
Maybe they just can't make enough pins for everybody. And they're like, instead of, trying to make more pins, we're just going to not give them out anymore.
Actually, what they're technically doing, so Blue Origin, Virgin Galactic, and more, they hand out their own versions of astronaut wings after their flights.
Of course they do. Well, you need some kind of memento. Going up and seeing the majesty of the cosmos, that's not enough of a reward. You need the little pin also.
So you have to get an award, you also have to be trained a certain point. So it can't be like a paying customer for the ride. So there's been a lot of changes on who gets astronaut wings or not. But at this point, it's going to not be anybody else who goes up on a private flight.
There we go. Well, the golden days are over.
Everything you love about the Riot, plus a handy dandy fast forward option. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Well, we go from talking from a few rich people that get to go to space to another rich person. And, well, I guess that's kind of where the similarities end.
Actually, the joke would be this guy ended up getting his own email. Because remember when everybody was laid off, they were like, if you're a part of this email and this call, then you are laid off.
Yep, it was totally impersonal. You just got a Zoom call. It was last week when the CEO of Better.com did a mass Zoom call with a bunch of employees, over 900, and all told them that they were all laid off, that this was the end. And it wasn't just about laying them off, because apparently he had a lot of comments about how the employees will say they're doing 8 hours of work, but they'll only actually do 2. And that's everybody. And that's not just at Better.com.
Well, and, he had a lot to say.
He had a lot of comments, a lot of things that came out about him that people didn't really seem to like. And now we're getting an update where apparently he is taking some time off.
Oh, because of it? Because of the backlash that he's received for, they're saying, being trash.
Yeah.
But I mean, no matter what, no matter how he would have, everybody would have been mad to just let off that many people. So many of them through a Zoom call. But as we mentioned, like, how could you personally go person to person with that many people laying off that many employees?
Yeah. Well, he says he actually apologized last week, and he says that he blundered the execution of what he did. And now that he is going to be taking some time off, effective immediately, and their chief financial officer will be taking over for this guy whose name is Vishal Garg. So, it must be nice where he gets to take some time off, too, to reflect. And I'm sure he still gets paid for.
I was going to say, do you hear the wording on it? Like, he's not fired. He's not fired. He's not resigned.
No.
He's just taking some time off.
He's not even suspended.
Not suspended.
No.
So all that the wordage means that he just doesn't have to do any work, or just not as public.
Yeah.
Because they want to have him take a break from, being a.
So he's not going to publicly fire anybody.
That's it.
He's just going to, behind closed doors, he'll have a proxy that will fire people for him.
They say they have so much work to do, and they hope that everyone can refocus on our customers and support each other. But at this point, I never heard of Better.com before all this.
Yeah.
And I think they really don't want to be known for this.
Yeah.
There's no other reason to know them.
Yeah. They need to come up with a really good promotion.
Something
that
else.
has nothing to do with anything else going on with them right now.
Because I think they were a real estate or like mortgage side of stuff.
I think it's a mortgage lender or something
Digital
like that.
mortgage company.
Yeah, which don't you already feel a little skeptical of that?
Yes.
Just
Yes.
That totally
maybe.
feels like something that, like a couple years down the road, if we never heard of this company anyways, we'd hear about how they were doing predatory lending or something.
I don't know,
like
but
that.
they must have been a huge company because that's a lot of people just to fire. And that was only 9% of its workforce. So again, Better.com, the CEO who did that Zoom call stuff from last week, he's taking time off.
Well, he's getting a vacation for the holidays, I think is the truth.
Hudson sees the glass as half empty. But get this. He thinks a glass half empty is good. The Riot. RadioU.
There was a real estate convention.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, well, that sounds boring.
So like realtors?
Yeah. Yeah. You know how they always say it in the commercials, like realtor? Yes. Like it's a superhero or something, or more like a villain. Like, watch out, here comes realtor.
I don't think I've ever noticed that.
It's the National Association of Realtors. Watch out. They'll sell you a house before you even know it.
So they had a convention in Atlantic City?
They had a real estate convention in Atlantic City at Harrah's Resort. And you're probably thinking that sounds pretty boring, but far from it.
Wow, the video.
Check out this video.
Why are they all fighting?
That's what I don't know. I was like, were they arguing over real estate stuff? Like, I say the most important thing is location, location, location.
Chairs are flying.
Yeah.
Literally, someone's just banging someone with a chair. There's like, it looks like 50 or so people, but it looks like it's in the hotel lobby. They say it was just before 3 a.m., which if you don't want to be in a fight.
Nothing good happens
don't be
at
in
a real estate convention at 3 a.m.
Because, tempers are just flaring at that point.
Yeah, man, it is wild. I don't know what all led to the brawl, but, it's always funny to me. You can imagine two people fighting, right? Like, you get it. But as the more and more people get involved, the more you question, how could all these people possibly be so emotional that they all got into the brawl? And I don't know, maybe there was like a couple of real estate posses, like opposing factions.
Maybe.
And maybe they're fighting, they're probably fighting over territory.
It could be. Well, they say that it's not clear even if everybody involved in the fight was a part of the real estate conference. Realtor. It could just be they were also just in the lobby. And if you've ever seen fights, someone goes in to break it up, then they're in the fight.
Yeah, right.
And then someone else. And then before you know it, you have
this
this entire thing. They say a person who witnessed the ordeal, the fight broke out after several mortgage companies threw various parties across the city earlier in the night. Mm-hmm. So they were all getting back into the hotel lobby around the same time.
You know what that means?
What?
Those mortgage companies were giving out free booze.
Yeah.
And so everybody by 3 a.m., they've all had their fill. They've been to all the different parties. They got all the free drinks they could.
Yeah.
And then all that's left to do is either throw up or get into a brawl. And so that's what happened.
I bet someone threw up too.
Oh, yeah. Those are the people that stayed out of the brawl. They were already in their rooms.
They were throwing up.
Yeah.
They said no arrests were made because no one wanted to sign a criminal complaint, which means no one wanted their employer or their family or friends to find out that they were a part of this.
Fortunately, the footage is pretty grainy, so it sounds like they'll all get away with it. Hey, what happens at the Atlantic City Realtors convention stays at the Atlantic City Realtors convention.
If you want to watch the video, just look for the guy who starts hitting people with a chair.
Yeah.
Like he was really in it.
If you're looking for hot takes on the day's most important news stories, you're in the wrong place. You're listening to The Riot on RadioU.
All right, so I've got both of you here to share some opinions on Christmas lights.
Yeah.
Nikki, I know you're an enthusiast.
I am.
Right?
I hired the best of the best.
Yeah, right. Only the best for Nikki. Isaiah, you don't decorate, do you?
No, I don't decorate.
Is it just because you're too lazy or because you hate Christmas?
No, it's because I'm too lazy.
Or is it too expensive?
I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah, like I just don't feel like hanging them up, and then I definitely will not feel like taking them down.
Yeah, you can leave them up all year round.
That's what would happen is they would be up for a long time because I'd be like, oh, they're still out there, but I really don't want to take them down today.
I did see an increase. It seems like everybody either did them super early this year or it was this past weekend.
Yeah,
because I saw a lot of people outside putting more stuff up.
Which this weekend was a weird weekend for it because of the weather. But hey, people, as long as they're getting out there, getting their decorations up, and I can see the lights, I'm happy with it. So I've got two different Christmas light displays for you to share your thoughts on. One is the house that has set the record for the most Christmas lights on a basically like a private residence.
Yeah.
This is not the first time they've set the record, but they just recently reset.
They brought it back.
They brought it back. They have over or almost 700,000 Christmas lights.
Wow.
And the previous time they had the record was back in 2014. So they've gone away from it for a few years, but they are back on top. It is a family in Hudson Valley, New York. If you wanted to go out there, have you looked at any of the footage of these lights?
We never get to say it. It's near Poughkeepsie.
Poughkeepsie, yeah.
I think
Beautiful
it's awesome.
region.
It's lovely, isn't it? I think it's awesome, though, because they accept donations for people to come see their lights at their house. So this year they expect to raise $500,000 for charity for setting up the lights.
Yeah,
Wow,
that's
that's
good.
unreal.
Great.
And did you see obviously it costs way more to purchase all of these lights and set them up, but the cost to run the lights, because they do all LEDs, they say it's only $350 a year.
No way.
That's what they say.
Well,
the
they don't
Christmas
run that
lights?
much. It doesn't run that much electricity.
Yeah, when it's LED, right?
I guess,
Yeah.
but I mean, you do have to buy the lights in the first place. It's probably where the big expense
Yeah,
is.
for
yeah.
sure.
Man, that's awesome. They say the first time was back in like the 90s when their daughter was born. So they put up lights to celebrate, and then they just did more and more and more.
Just keeps getting bigger and bigger. But do you think it looks
Nice.
good, though?
I do.
It looks great.
You
It
do?
looks crazy.
I think
though.
it looks crazy. Yeah, they do live. It seems
It's a good crazy.
it's
Yeah.
a fine crazy. I guess any crazy is fine when it comes to Christmas.
I think it has to be, if it's going to be a world record, like it's got
Yeah.
to be out there.
Right.
I just always feel bad for the neighborhood.
Well, that's what I was gonna
Oh,
say.
yeah.
I think
That's the worst.
At this house, they seem to be kind of out in the woods.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so bright. There's so many lights. You might still be able to see them if even through all the trees and whatnot. Even if you lived a couple miles away. But yeah, they're it's quite bright there. But I guess they're a little isolated.
Yeah, they like doing it.
The other one, I want to find out your guys' feelings on this. In Canada, we have a family in Saskatchewan. They live next to a house that's kind of decked out in all the lights. Obviously not world record setting, but pretty illuminated. And so their response is just to have ditto with a light up
next
thing
to
that
it.
says ditto and an arrow pointing to the house. What do we think? Is that funny or lame?
It was funny like a few years ago, but I feel now like that's a bit lazy.
Yeah.
We could do something.
I
all
think
right?
it's good.
You
can
like
do
it?
I think I think
That's
it's
'cause
funny.
You'd be the one doing
I think
it.
it's funny. Yeah, I think that's funny.
Do you think you'd be insulted if you were the neighbor that had the lights up?
No.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
Because the one that's getting all the attention is the ditto house with the arrow, not the house that's all decorated, all
They're
nice,
not-
that put a lot of effort
They're
into
not
it.
getting the same attention.
I think that if you're putting up lights for attention, then you're doing it for the wrong reason anyway.
Oh, well, why?
It's supposed to be fun for your children, for everybody who lives in the house. I don't need to put on a big show for the people that drive by. Like, oh,
Yeah.
look at my house. Look at me with all the lights. I think you're doing it for yourself.
if you're a world record holder, you're doing it for.
Yeah.
You're
at
doing
least
it for the
them.
attention.
You want the
Yeah.
attention. They're just using that to raise money, which is good. But yeah, the ditto thing is being done more and more and more.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's as clever as when it was in the first
Yeah,
place.
that makes sense. Overplayed a little bit
Unless
now.
you were the very first person ever to do the ditto thing.
Then you don't get to.
Yeah, you shouldn't be able to. And it's you know what? Why are you even copying somebody else that did that? Why you should have a ditto on the person that said ditto first.
Yeah, you can do that.
You have to find out which way to point the arrow for that.
I think you just need to set a sign out that's lit and just says, "This is it. This is all you're getting.
This is what we
This
got."
is all we're doing," and be thankful for this.
Yep.
Worst of the Riot podcast.
What are you doing over there?
Isaiah stole my headphones.
I accidentally stole his headphones.
Ooh, but these ones are so much nicer. They've been used a lot less.
These are so
Yeah.
warm on my
serious.
head.
You're right. It is cold on these headphones.
I was like, "What are you guys doing over there?"
I just said, why did I? We have little hooks for our headphones.
Yeah.
And I didn't know why mine were suddenly hung up in the middle of the show. It's because they were Isaiah's and he stole mine.
Normally, you keep it's not like there are headphones, but that's the one that each seat uses.
Yeah, then they all look similar.
You could tell something was amiss.
Yeah. All right. So Isaiah with my headphones. Everybody has been asking, what is up with Jim? Because Jim the dog. Jim is Isaiah's puppy basset hound. How old is he?
He is 9 months old.
9 months old. And over the weekend or leading into the weekend, Jim got fixed.
Yes, he did.
Which you were hoping would fix everything.
Yeah.
It fix more than just the fixing.
Let's just say Jim had quirks about him that training would not necessarily get out. Just problems. But then, sometimes when you get a dog fixed, they slow down. They stop, like peeing in the bed, like that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so Jim got fixed on what was Thursday. And for anyone who said, texted me, oh my gosh, once you get him fixed, it's going to help so much. He'll stop pooping inside and peeing inside and being so crazy and biting you and doing all these things. Thank you for, wasted $600. Literally, he came home on Thursday, and obviously he's on, all of his pain medications and sleep stuff, and he's still, a literal psychopath. Even on the medication, he's still crazy. And so I'm well, if he's, crazy right now, by the time, Wednesday, Thursday rolls around, he's still going to be crazy.
No, he'll calm down. I bet emotionally, have you ever had a surgery? Your emotions are just all crazy and stuff. And your body, I'm sure he just needs to take a few days.
Yeah, so hopefully over the course of the next week or so, he calms down a little bit. But he has, since the surgery, pooped in the house every single day. One time he did it when we were there. I was in the living room and he just walked into my bedroom and my roommate was like, dude, it smells awful in here. And I was like, no shot. No chance. Because usually if we're there, he'll stand by the door and he'll go outside. And I had just let him out. Probably 10 minutes before this happened, I had let him out twice because he stood by the door. I let him out there. He came back in. And then he stands by the door every 15 minutes. And then I'll let him out again, whatever, hang out outside, that's fine. And then 10 minutes later, just poops in my bedroom.
Well, now, okay, so also if you have a surgery, maybe he's just letting you know how unhappy he was that you did that. And so it also could just take a few days for him to calm down.
When you're drugged up, man, you don't even know what's going on.
You're right.
Maybe he thought he was outside.
Yeah,
He didn't know. But
so what, does it stop there, though? Is that because it it sounds like he's worse.
It's honestly, this past weekend, it was great because he slept a ton. So that was fantastic. And when it's just me and him, when it's just us, he's fine. He'll just lay next to me. No big deal.
The most no, you don't understand what it's like when it's just the two of us.
When it's just us, when it's just me with him, and even when it's just
you don't know what she's like when she's not around everybody else.
When my roommate's with him, it's just the three of us. He knows, Jim, we don't want to play with you. We've never wanted to play with you, so stop biting me all the time because we're not playing right now. But then once we have a guest over, if anyone, it doesn't matter who it is, if there's a guest over, then all of a sudden it's free reign. He's a psycho.
Aww.
He acts like he's never learned anything or even knows his name.
Aw, poor Jim. Jim is Isaiah's dog.
Yeah, so
in case you're still joining in, you're like, well, what a roommate is that?
I know.
Place?
He won't
Jim
stop.
pooping in the house.
We've all had bad roommates, but not that bad.
That's another level.
So that's tough.
Why don't we just still give you hope? I bet you by Wednesday, Thursday, or by Christmas. I bet you by Christmas he'll be all calmed down.
Fingers crossed.
I just think the good news of all of this is at least there won't be little Jims running around anymore.
No one else.
We do not need more Jims in the world.
No one else will be having to deal with this.
One is plenty.
Yeah.
That's enough of that. For more Riot content, head to riot.radiou.com.